So I've turned the recorder on, but I've noticed that I think my sound settings are automatically adjusting. Is that what's happening? No, it's not. Oh wait, it is. It is. That is happening. Oh man, I hate when this happens. Go back. Calendar. Click this. Join. How do I join this?
سال اومدم ولی خب بد نبود، خوب بودش. دوره خوبی رو دارم، چیزای خوبی دارم یاد میگیرم تو اینجا.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
Hi, Adil.
Hey.
Okay, I would say we can start, or you can start, because I have already written my suggestion. As I always said, it is only my suggestion. You can yourself define in which direction you would like to go. But if you have any question or your own understanding from what I wrote, probably we can discuss about it.
Yes, that was about the general. Let me.
The general criteria. We just wanted to know.
Criteria. Yeah. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll explain it. Yeah, I can explain it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we just wanted to know exactly what you meant by the general criteria that you were looking for in any domain. Do you mean like some criteria that can be applied onto any domain regardless of the subject? Like, for example, the school level, so high school level, middle school level, college level, or the complexity, how long it takes to do a certain question. Is this what you meant by complexity, or sorry, by...
I'm not sure. I don't know myself.
Oh.
Because as I wrote, if we remain realistic, I guess there would be some general criteria which would have their concrete form in each field. For example, complexity, what you showed in your report concerning the math tasks, math homework or so, they could be from different levels. And these levels, elementary, intermediate, and so we can, if we would generalize it, we could say if someone, for example, our company, would decide to make a benchmarking for a concrete field of application, then complexity of the input is a general criteria, and it should be made more concrete concerning the field itself.
Excuse me, may I ask you a question? You mean for any type of domain, yes? You mean for any type of domain?
Yeah, any type. Yeah, yes, any type of domain. You have to think a bit about the industry, about the economy, about the project, the real projects. I gave, I think, two examples. One was the what was it? One
Adult
moment.
education?
Adult education, and the other one was healthcare.
Healthcare, I think it was. Yes, healthcare.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Because, for example, the organization of adult education. We are not in this field, but this is only an example. Uh, Making the schedule, the different subjects, different teachers, uh, define the content of each course and so on, the other things like that. This would the management. I mean the management of adult um, uh, education. Or, for example, we could say one thing which would be more near to industry. For example, production. No, I look into my email again.
Yeah, you mentioned water engineering. You mentioned
Water engineering,
medical
water engineering,
diagnostics.
water engineering.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, water engineering.
water engineering. Yes, water engineering. For example, some in Germany there is an authority, probably in Canada is similar, which is responsible for the safety of water, and that they are not uh, polluted, alude.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
uh, and so on. Uh, and this has also this is a management duty, and they would like to automate this task, the management task of water engineering and water control, um, by a generative AI tool. And some company comes and says, yes, I know your field, and I have made a generative AI tool for your um, application for the management of water engineering. Uh, and they come to us and say, you are independent quality assurance company, and evaluate this and make for us an report uh, saying which level of accuracy or safety or efficiency has this AI application. And in this case, for a company like us, would be very useful if we would have some kind of instruction, which which um, steps we have to do in order to have a quality assurance. And as I understood your report, the core of this quality assurance would be a test set.
Yeah.
We call it in the test community test suite. And you have also mentioned that the number of test cases which are in the two fields you already analyzed. This would be of the one side, the test case, the test suite. And my question was initially how if we would like to generate such test suite, which criteria should be considered? Which general criteria, for example, complexity and things like that, probably you would on the basis of your experience with the both examples or that your theoretical research could say other general criteria, or for there are of course other criteria which cannot be generalized.
We have
And
to evaluate on the my apology on the core metrics, yes, like accuracy, efficiency, and robustness, something like
no,
that.
these are the criteria of no, these, yes, these criteria is our is also important, but these are the quality assurance criteria.
Yes,
These are general, yes.
yes, naturally.
I have noted accuracy and efficiency. There are, of course, other criteria. For example, no bias. I don't know how you can express it, but
Yeah,
that not or
fairness.
a minimal
Yeah.
amount of bias should be present in the model and so on.
Right. So the
These are
model,
the
Fairness.
it
excuse
shouldn't be
me.
overtrained. It shouldn't be undertrained. It should be trained just
Yes,
enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
overfitting, not overfitting,
Yeah.
not
yes,
underfitting. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. These are
yeah,
the general criteria. These are general. Is no, but what I mean is the application field itself and the test cases we have to
Yeah.
derive from the application, because I would like to have also a link to the systematic test method in the conventional software, and also our own peon method, probabilistic extended ODD ontology, uh, where we have also defined for classifiers, for classifiers they are implemented as a AI models. We have also there as a systematic test approach on the basic of the probability. But as I spoke to you at the beginning, I am aware that in the generative AI, this is not the case. This cannot be the case to work with probabilities, because in the reality there is a open field, and there is also no data concerning concerning the input domain, so that you cannot make a partition in the input domain.
Yes.
Uh, a, a possible similar method would be to have some heuristics, as I told you, Faustregel in German.
Rules of thumb. Yeah.
Yeah, that you say, uh, consider the complexity and partition your input domain on the basis of complexity: elementary class, intermediate class, high level class.
three
Uh,
stages,
Yeah.
excuse me.
three stages, three levels.
For example,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
for your math
yeah.
example,
For
you
math
are
was five
Yeah.
levels. Yes.
5 level. Okay,
Yeah.
it's only an example.
Example.
Generally
The
three levels, but yes, it was
three or five is not important. Only to define the, because we can ourselves decide how what the granularity of the division would be. But for us uh, is important to know the criteria itself.
yes,
Yeah.
Complexity would be a
Yeah.
criteria,
I think
and so on.
another
Other.
another
Excuse
criteria
me.
that we can add
Mhm.
that is not really very well studied right now in the benchmarking space is the long-term performance. So usually whenever they do testing for models, especially models that are meant to manage, like you've said, to make reports or to schedule classes for adult education or do audits for like quality assurance for water engineering, one thing that has not been looked at thoroughly is the long-term performance. So maybe on the short term, for just 10 or 15 tests, it performs well, but then over time you'll notice a dip in how well the models perform. So this is something that we can make a test for to see how well the models perform long term, and this can apply in basically any domain. It can be like a general rule of thumb.
Okay, long-term. This would be a criteria concerning the duration of the application. But I have no imagination about why this happens.
So I'll give you one example. They did some research recently with a business. They gave different AI models the ability to use money to manage a vending machine business. And what they found out was that some models, just after a few hours, would start underperforming, and they would start sending malicious code. They would not function properly, even if they were functioning initially. And then other models, they were more robust. They were able to handle months-long management of this business. And these are all just language models that are running all of this. So they found out that certain parameters in the models can affect long-term performance. So you have to fine-tune those parameters to make it actually business safe. So if we're doing anything related to management, then you would have to definitely check if the model can be trusted on the long term, which is why you would need this kind of benchmark to safety test it.
Okay, you mean also the performance concerning accuracy, but also the performance concerning the time efficiency.
The time efficiency, like how long is that accuracy maintained?
How long? Only time efficiency?
How long is the accuracy maintained over a period of time? Both of them together.
Okay, you mean if in a short, if the output is generated after a long time of working,
yes.
If the output is generated in a short time, this is not an enough accurate.
Yeah, we don't know if we can trust it if it's just a short-term output.
Okay, because these models is in general dynamic. It means they learn also during the after they are deployed, right?
Yeah, reinforcement learning. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yes. This would be, for example, further general criteria, and the second step would be some instruction, because of course there are some special criteria which cannot be generalized.
Yes.
We cannot anticipate which criteria the water engineering, because we don't know the field, the subject. But I'm not sure if this is possible. This is only an idea. Is there any method, or could you construct a method which or a workflow having a sequence of steps leading us, or if we apply them, then we can be sure, or we can hope that at the end of this sequence of activities, we know a large part of the special criteria of the field. I'm not sure if
I understood the question.
Okay.
You're asking what kinds of
You mean
instructions?
for a clear domain, or for any?
For any field, we don't know the field, but a method in order to derive the special criteria which should be considered in constructing our test suite.
Yes. So just like an algorithm that would work generally to find out what instructions we'd have to need or to use to get a test suite for any specific domain.
Yes.
I understand.
Probably the algorithm, yes. This would, of course, not be a classical algorithm, but would contain some some heuristics, but which heuristic? How, in which direction should I think, so that I can hope that at the end of my thinking, I could derive or a few criteria, special criteria of the field. For example, we remain in the field of water engineering, or water, what I called it, not water engineering.
Yeah, you said water
Engineering, okay,
name,
okay, okay. For example, we have seas, we have rivers, we have open seas, we have or small seas, large seas. Yes, we have rivers, we have چاه به انگلیسی چی میشه؟
Well.
Wells?
Well.
No.
Well.
Yes.
Water.
We have wells. We have springs. چشمه.
Yes, fountain. Springs, fountain.
Fountain, yeah.
Yeah.
But you, this would be probably a good example.
Different types of water sources. Yes.
Different types of water sources. Yes. But how, and in an other field we have an other kind of special kind, but such an approach, so that if I apply the approach on my domain, then I could derive different part of water sources and different type of pollutions, water pollutions, and different types of what would be, for example, whether ships can be or can drive on the water. This would be another criteria. In very small water streets or rivers, no ship can go.
Is there should we think about the managing and engineering about the wastewater as well, or no, only about the water? Wastewater, I mean, fazla. Should we think about of that as well for the managing of that, or no?
In my thinking, I didn't think about wastewater, but please be aware, I don't mean, this is only example. I don't mean
yes.
the water engineering, only the water engineering.
Any field.
Any field, yes. Which probably, in order to define such a heuristic or such a method, one needs to make some concrete examples. And
like
then,
water engineering, yes.
Like water engineering, like adult education, like production, industrial production in a factory, and so on. And yes, I'm not aware of the. I'm not sure about the result. No? I don't say that such an approach can be easily formulated, and I don't.
I think one method of coming up with a general approach to train models in any domain is first to define what the domain of interest is, and then find any resources related to that domain of interest, like
any what, please?
Any resources, like, for example, websites, articles.
Yes.
Create like a Wikipedia of information, a knowledge base, and then you send that knowledge base over to a general language model, not fine-tuned on anything, just a general language model, and it'll extract all the important features based on the number of times it occurs in a document or the wording used to describe it. So does the wording say this is important, or is it not very important in the documents? And using this approach with language models, you can create an outline of what the models need to be good at. So this is all automated. You don't have to. The human doesn't need to do anything. It's a machine operated process. It will work algorithmically. And then once you have a model trained, you can start doing the testing validation, where you can take examples, real world examples that have already been solved in the past. You hide the answers from the machine and you see how well it can solve those. And again, except for maybe the data extraction, like actually getting the raw data, humans don't need to be involved in this process of training the model. And I think even for the data extraction, you can train another model just to pull data from the internet.
Yes, it's right. I think the such consideration could help to come to such general criteria. I have to be honest and to say that I have forgotten what I wrote you in detail. Probably the implementation, deployment of benching. So benchmarking agents, okay? Instructions set. Okay, benchmarking agent. As I understood, the agent on the one side is the core of the quality assurance method would be the test suite, and in order to define this test suite, one should have some criteria to partition
Yes.
the domain, and as we already talked about it, there could be some very general criteria which can be applied to each field, and some special criteria. And for these special criteria, you could define some hints and instruction how we can derive such criteria from the knowledge of the field. Yes, this would be one, and the other thing would be the agent, because in order to execute the tests, automatically execute the test, you need the agent, right?
Yes.
Okay, and how I can build the agent? This would be a technical point. How can I build an agent for quality assurance?
Yeah, we can use models that already exist, like general models. So for example, Meta has made their Llama models open source, meaning they're licensed under the Apache license. So anybody can train the model with a fine tune to make it a specific model, like an agent, as we were discussing. We don't have to train anything from the ground up. We just need to fine tune something, which will be cheaper to do, and it will require less computational power. And so we have to train that model, and as you said, the way we would train that model is with the general criteria and the specific criteria related to a domain that we need to work with, like water engineering or adult education or whatever it is. And as I mentioned earlier, the way we would get those specific criteria is by taking an entire knowledge base related to information of a specific domain, like water engineering, like a Wikipedia or any kind of resources, online resources, and making another model just read through that and to highlight specifics based on the number of times something is appearing or how important it is as communicated by the documents. And so these will find the special criteria for us, and the other step, which is to train the agents itself, can be done with some machine learning on existing models with fine-tuning.
Okay, you mean in order to derive the specific criteria, we can apply an AI model on the knowledge base of the for example, if we would like to be to use a very small knowledge base, then we take Wikipedia. Otherwise, we can feed our AI model with different books and
like
articles.
government regulation, for example. so it knows exactly
Okay.
which criteria need
Yes,
to be.
government. Yeah, is very good. Very, and then we expect that the AI model outputs the main specific criteria.
Specifics, yes.
Okay. Now I understand. Yes.
And this is all
Okay.
automated, so it's an automatic
This
process.
is automated. Okay. In this case, you don't need to manually specify
No.
a priori the method for finding the special
Yep.
criteria. The special
My
criteria are
apologies.
created. Yes.
I think this meeting time is approaching to the end.
No, I have time. I have time. Do you have any?
Yeah, you need to reorganize that. If is that enough time for that?
Yes, I have time.
Okay.
I'm in my
Just
office,
wanted
and
to remind not to be disconnected.
I have nothing to do.
Okay.
If you have something to do, then we can.
No.
We're
Just
good.
worried about the disconnection of
No.
the meeting. No worries about that.
Thank you. No.
Okay.
Yes, then generating the specific criteria by an AI model. Okay, the general criteria are defined, or you will define the general criteria, and the specific, this would be the instruction.
Yes.
For us. Take an AI, an appropriate AI model, and apply it to your knowledge base. We know what is our knowledge base, and ask for main criteria to classify the data of the field. Okay, very good idea. And the other thing would be, if in this, so we would have criteria, general and specialized criteria, to partition our data domain. And then we have to execute the tests. And also in this case, you mean we could use AI models to generate agents?
Yes, we would have to fine-tune our own models based on things that already exist. So we wouldn't have to train anything from scratch. We can use a foundation model, like the Mistral model, or the Llama model, or the Gemma model by Google, and then we can train on top of that, and then that model can be used as the agent.
The model itself can be used as agent.
Yes, because
you mean
when you say agent, you mean the thing that's executing all the tasks, right? Like the thing that is doing the reports or doing the management in water engineering. Yes. So you would use the model itself for that.
One moment. I mean the testing activity. It means I have in the first step, I built my test suite, a set of 1,000 or 10,000 tests. Then I have also the model which my customer, or which my the provider has built, and my objective is to test this model using the test suite and generate the report. And what I mean by agent is a program, a software, which takes the elements of the test suite, the test cases of the test suites, apply them to the model which is to be tested, considers the output of the model, and at the end evaluates on the basis of the outputs the result. Okay, the test engine and the test environment.
So you want one model to actually do the testing, like to try solving the problems, and then another model to evaluate how well it did, or no?
I'm not sure, or I'm not sure whether it can be automated or not, because I didn't. You mentioned the model. I would say tool. if you
Tool.
say model is okay, but my imagination is that we need a tool, a software tool, which takes the individual test cases from the test suites, apply them to the test object. It means the AI model which is to be tested, records the outputs of the AI model, and evaluates the tests.
Okay, I understand now.
So
So
I'm not
something
sure
yeah.
how
I think I
much
understand.
it can be automated.
Right. So something basically to administer the test, like a test environment that is recording everything, and the agent is something else. The agent is the model. This tool that we're talking about is the test environment that ultimately sees the performance.
Okay.
So you have the agent and you have the tool. I understand.
I mean the test environment, but I have one moment. You wrote in your report concerning software engineering, benchmarking agent.
Yes.
Does do these benchmarking agent? I understood them as test environment.
Yeah, the benchmarking agents, they create a test environment and then they assess the model. This is all automated. The benchmarking agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They create a test environment. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Using the test suite, which is used for the domain. Okay.
Yeah. So for
Okay,
example, the software engineering benchmark is basically just taking issues from GitHub. So there's many projects on GitHub, and developers put issues for things they need to solve as part of those projects. And those issues usually come with predefined acceptance criteria. So those acceptance criteria are what the benchmarking model uses to automatically assess if the language model, like the coding model, can solve all of the issues. So if it can solve all of the issues using whatever test constraints set up, then the model the benchmark evaluates the language model as performing good.
Okay. Okay. In this case, the evaluation is easy because solving the issues. No? But in the general case, is not so easy. I would say in the general case, you cannot automate or you cannot define the general automation. The evaluation probably should be partly made
Human.
by human.
Yes.
Okay, I think especially in the field of for example, water engineering, you cannot
sensitive field.
Okay.
Actually, Dr. Sadegh, I'm saying something funny. It was a few years ago. I had a vacuum cleaner in my storage. It was such a long time, and when I brought it, wanted to use it, it was a lot of dust on that. And my friend told me, first you need another vacuum cleaner to clean it up. Right now, this nature of the work that you mentioned reminds me about that project. First, we need another software AI to evaluate these types of AI.
Yes, is right. Yeah, there are different layers of AI models.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I hope this my intention is now clear.
Yes.
But it is up to you how in detail you would like to work on this.
That's very good. At the end, we have another question for something else not related to our work. Is that possible to ask?
Yes, of course.
About you are a mathematician. I think maybe you're aware of the conjectures during especially the math conjectures, which are the theorem that works, but no one has already proved that. For example, the most famous conjecture in math, in number theory, is about the Goldbach conjecture, which mentions
Goldbach.
Goldbach.
Okay.
I'm saying in German says Goldbach, I think. Yeah. And in Goldbach conjecture, that is any even number greater than 2 is the summation of at least 2 primes. For example, 4 equals 2 plus 2, or 10 equals 3 plus 7 and 5 plus 5, or 16 equals 3 plus 13, or 5 plus 11, and so on. It was about...
One moment. The conjecture is that each prime number is the sum.
Any even greater than 2. Any even greater than 2 is the sum of 2 primes, at least 2 primes. Sum of, we can find at least 1 pair, maybe more, that their summation equals to an even number.
Okay.
For example, 10 equals 3 plus 7 and 5 plus 5.
Okay.
Or 16 equals 11 plus 5, or 13 plus 3. Or you can, if, for example, check it for even 100. 100 equals maybe 11 plus 89. Both are
okay.
primes.
Okay. Is it Hilbert's conjecture?
That was Goldbach.
So Goldbach is not funny. Okay.
Goldbach conjecture.
Okay.
And it was about, it has been mentioned maybe about 300 years ago. And 20 years ago, I think, society put a $1 million prize for anyone who could prove it. But yet, no one proved that. No one proved that. But we have also different conjectures in the mathematics. For example, 3n plus 1 is another conjecture that says any integer which is even just divided by 2, and if it is odd, put it in 3n plus 1, and finally you will achieve 1, and it is correct as well. That is another conjecture.
Okay.
Actually, we worked on another conjecture that, but we couldn't publish that.
Number theory.
Yes.
Also conjecture of number theory.
Yes, this conjecture is ours, me and Adil, that any prime is the average or mean of 2 distinct primes. Any prime that is greater than 3. For example, 5 is the mean of 3 and 7. Or 7 itself is the mean of 3 and 11. And this is our conjecture. And also, furthermore, is that any prime is the mean of n primes that n could be any number, maybe mean of 3 primes, mean of 10 primes, mean of 100 primes. And at least 2 of them are distinct, 2 of them not equal. And none of them included our first prime.
Yes.
And we also provided the computational provement. We checked it for very, very big primes, and it works for
10 to
them.
the 25.
Yeah. Yes. And also the application is in the cloud computing for that. You searched about that, Adil, better.
Cloud
you
computing,
can explain that.
or in encryption, or it has applications in cybersecurity. This conjecture, it'll help us. This conjecture will help us improve the security and reliance of different systems or distribute workload. Yeah, that's the application of the conjecture.
Okay.
We are looking for a way to publish about that and mention somewhere, but we don't know which way is the best. For example, in archive, it needs archive. Yes, it needs someone who has been active in that archive for the recent 3 years, and each year published at least 3 or 5 papers, and we couldn't find. And exactly in the area of number theory, and hard to find someone like that for us, because our field also is not number theory. This was personal research about that.
Okay, you mean some platform or some journal or
yes,
conference,
journal somewhere we
but
want
not
to...
in the number. I have also no link to the number theory. For example, cybersecurity. Yes.
Yes,
that's one application. Yes.
Yes, one of the application is in cybersecurity. Yes.
Okay, we have. Our publications are generally in conferences, and so in the field of journals we have I think until now only a few articles we have published in journals, but we have many articles in different conferences. I can, because my colleague in BTU, Andrei, the surname Panchenko. Andrei Panchenko, I can ask him whether if you write me only 2 sentences.
Okay, we will send
the title and
we have already wrote that completely, and we can send it to
but
you.
I probably it's
just
better to
2 lines summary.
To keep it for you, and if you write me the title and the abstract,
sure,
it would be enough, and I will ask him whether he can give us a hint concerning which conference or probably which journal could be appropriate. But did I understand right that it was not a mathematical proof, but
yes, conjecture is something that has not been proved mathematically.
Yes.
But it works for any number that
we've tested
we try for that.
Yeah,
a large amount of a large interval of numbers. You have tested it for it, and it works.
It works. But no formal.
For example, Pythagoras theorem, which is hypotenuse squared equals adjacent squared plus opposite squared in a triangle, has been proved. That is a theorem. But Goldbach conjecture, which is any even number greater than 2 equals the summation of 2 primes, it works for all the events. It works, but no one proved that. Unlike the Pythagoras theorem.
Yes. It's clear that because this is the difference between induction and the deductive proof. You can. It is also a philosophical problem that you can how you could say something is valid, is correct.
Yes.
As probably you know, David Hume, the British
the Izod problem
philosopher,
yes.
Induction, but Immanuel Kant criticized him and said no, with induction you cannot come to a valid assertion. Here is the same case, and also from this point of view, probably it would not be a good idea to publish it in a number theory journal or so, but for information security, cybersecurity is because they are very practical, practical oriented, and could be. But could you probably tell me something about the link between these conjunction and cybersecurity? Does it concern the encryption?
Yeah. So usually when, for example, passwords are stored in some database, they're not directly stored in plain text. Usually first they're encrypted. And in order to take that encrypted message and convert it back to the password, you need an encryption key. So our conjecture over here can actually help with making that encryption key. So usually the encryption key is just stored in a single place, or it can be stored in a single place. But with this conjecture, you can split it up and store it in multiple locations. So that way, unless you get authentication from all those locations, you cannot go forward and like access data. So this conjecture can help us with like the prime number splitting. It can help us split up the encryption key into different. It can give us an approach to split up the encryption key into smaller parts. So, for example, if we have a prime number, we can think of we can come up with an algorithm to essentially split up that into smaller primes and distribute it. And this can help with making that encryption key. I know it's kind of abstract, but this is how it would work.
Okay. If you use the conjecture in order to define an algorithm which divide a key into two components.
Two or more components. And
two or more components. Okay. Yes. Okay. I see. Yeah, thank you. It's very easy to understand and to explain. If you write me, as I said, only the abstract and the title, I will contact my colleague and probably can tell you which conference or which journal could be appropriate for that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. Then I would say if you continue to work and have any question, please come to me, get to me again. Otherwise, we will be in contact concerning the algorithm of dividing the prime numbers.
We will keep continuing on the work and we'll inform you and present our achievement as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good time. Goodbye.
Have a great one.
Thank you for meeting us. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.